Good morning. So good to see you all this morning. I'm Bob Renjilian. I am the minister of this congregation. I use he, him pronouns. It's so good to have you all this morning at the Unitarian Universalists of Transylvania County. Whether you're here live in this room or online, we welcome you. First time, 100th time, whatever number of times you've been here, we're glad to see you. Thank you for honoring us with your presence. I have a few announcements to get us started out here. Let's see. Those of you who follow the pagan calendar know that the recently named Mabon happened this weekend with the fall equinox. And so for those of you observing those transitions seasonally and religiously, we recognize that in this service. And we have Super Sunday today, right after the service, so we hope that you will all enjoy some soup with us. Glad to have had volunteers bring in some soup. We have this week a couple of observances in society that I thought was worth bringing up. One is, Bisexual Visibility Day is tomorrow. And as a welcoming congregation, we observe the calendar of the LGBTQ community and celebrate and lift up the diversity in our midst. Also, I saw in the newsletter from Highland Books that it's Banned Books Week this week. If we're, I don't know if I get the phrase right, but I'll paraphrase it. If you're free to read books, books will set you free. Something like that. Go see if you can find a poster and see, but that's the general. Those are our brief announcements. There are a huge amount of other things going on. I did want to say again, the mountain retreat. We have exactly one more week to sign people up for the mountain. I sent a test message out to people who are going to the mountain. And I didn't hear whether anybody opened their email or saw it. Did you see your email as I tested to see if you're signed up? Good. You want to be with these people. You want to sign up too. We have a few slots left. We have people willing to help support a family or individuals who feel otherwise that financially they couldn't do it. And we also arranged, now that we have a full enough registration, we arranged a day tripper option. If you feel like, no, got to get home and walk the dog, but I can be there for a day, speak to me, find out more, or call the mountain and sign up. Remember, this is the last week you can sign up, even though it isn't until October 13th. Thank you. Oh, sure. I mean, there are all sorts of things. Maybe you don't want to drive all the way to Highlands, in which case, meet up here. Drive down together, or meet at your house. Drive down together. We would love to make everything easy for you. Yeah, and we'll have s'mores. So there you go. Yeah. Let's see. I have a few candles. I am going to light one for Christy's friend Jackie, who has been having a medical scare. And Mike, if you can help with that. Prayers for Jackie and her condition. Joan Lemire lights a candle of joy for Carla Marr's birthday this week. We also note that Carla was concerned for Carla. She was back in the hospital briefly. And Linda whispered to me last Wednesday that we should have said this. It was Linda Packard Young and Richard Packard's 3rd anniversary. Yeah. Congratulations. Well, let's light a candle for those things not yet shared, perhaps held in the hearts of those who are online watching, or among all of you, or folks who just couldn't be here today. Over soup, over the times you meet and greet each other, let's open up our hearts to one another, our prayers. our congratulations and knowing the big things that are happening in our lives. Thank you. Let's see. Worthy recognition and greeting. This is, I did the candles too early, I'm sorry. But I'm learning. We're experimenting with this new order of service. But now is the time to greet one another in each other's worth and dignity.
The chalice lighting this morning are words of the UUA Leadership Council. If you'd join me, please, in reading these in unison. With humility and courage born of our history, we are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where all souls are welcome as blessings and the human family lives whole and reconciled. With this vision in our hearts and minds, we light our chalice. Now, the opening words are from the Reverend Gretchen Haley. She wrote this as a call to worship about process theology. Today, God is running late, trying to find their seat, scanning the room for someone they know or someone they don't. God's feeling evangelical, but not in a judgy way, mysterious, but not manipulative. God can't stop thinking about the James Webb Telescope and the possibility that time is not linear, which God might have guessed. From the never-ending urgency of some upcoming election and the likelihood that sometime next week, Halloween candy will show up in the grocery store. God notes it's already there. God is tired of grief and white supremacy and the warming of the oceans, not to mention they would usually rather come to a later service. And it's rainy. Why hasn't the climate-friendly HVAC system dealt with the humidity? God wonders. And of course, we're all alike, no kidding. God, can't you do something about that? But God's hearing aid batteries ran out and they haven't come in time to order more, or that's what they say when asked and can hear the question. But really, that last emergency room visit maxed their credit cards, and their partner's been working DoorDash for some extra cash, but it's just not enough, and really, God just wants to be present. Stop worrying about everything. Sing, breathe, laugh. We got you, God, we say, and we'll settle in and we'll be present and we'll sing and we'll tell stories and breathe deep and laugh and we'll remember ourselves and offer whole galaxies of gratitude for all this beauty, for still blooming salvia and full apple trees, zucchini bread, and the U.S. women's soccer team. For protest letters and entire villages of people saying, you are safe here. God, your creation is not yet done. Creating you. Come, let us worship together. And now, you'll stand and sing as you can or wish to. Our opening hymn, 126.
Now, I was told this week when I asked John I had 3 hymn choices, and there's only 2 slots for hymns, and what might work out best, and he said that was a favorite of his. So I think he had a lot of fun with that one. Yeah. I usually save this story for when I'm talking about Jewish history, Judah, the hammer. But I'm thinking our society right now needs me to pound nails. And I don't know, kids, if you can see, I'll pull this out a little further, maybe you can see better. I'm going to stand here. Catherine brought in this sawhorse, and I brought in this old scrap piece of wood. I dropped another nail. We spent much of the morning trying to find dropped nails. Here we go. I don't know if you can see from where you are, but you'll probably be able to hear from where you are. So I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to call somebody a name. And I'm going to say that somebody's ideas that are different from mine are just wrong. And I'm going to let them know it really hard. And then maybe I'll just have a tiny little swipe at someone and kind of try to compliment them with a sneer on my face. You ever do that? Just a little mean there. And then maybe say, you know, you don't look so good. Okay. Now, every time that you say something and it hurts somebody's feelings, you're just pounding nails into a board. And then, you know what? We teach people, look, you got to go back later and you got to apologize. There's a whole big deal about going around and apologizing to people. Again, you got the Jewish High Holy Days not here yet, but I usually save it for that, and that's because there's a whole time of year in which you're supposed to make up for not living up to your best self. Unitarian Universalists feel like, yeah, we should apologize. We did something wrong. We should go back and apologize. I'm sorry. I know I said really mean things to you, and I was upset, and that's no excuse, and it hurt your feelings, and I see that, and I'm sorry. And no, I don't really think you're ugly. I just said that because. I'm sorry for sneering at you while I was talking to you. All right, so you say, okay, well, I just undid all sharp, hurtful words. Except that there are 4 holes in this board. See these holes? Nearly always, even after you've apologized, it's left a mark. It's left a hurt. And people may say, oh, that's all right, I forgive you. But there's still some kind of damage done. So you know what? If you think you're a good person, and you're going to be saying something mean to someone, and you'll apologize later, maybe you just don't do it in the first place. Because then you're not dealing with seeing the damage that you've done. There you go, folks. Your minister brought a hammer. We're going to be singing out the children, and I guess you're helping out with the candle, right? Come on forward. We'll sing out the children. Thank you. Be with you and our blessing. Peace be with you and our blessing as you leave us now. I haven't thought of anything funny to say about taking your money today. I don't know, we're just going to do it anyway. I mean, why would we? Why would we try to think of something funny to say about taking your money? This is a serious thing. We need it. Meals on Wheels needs it if you put it in the envelope instead of just the basket. So, I'm not going to tell you anything funny. You're just going to have to be generous without laughing. May the ushers come forward. We will now receive the morning offering.
Hello, thank you. I have to take you behind the scenes just a little bit. Normally, somebody, me or somebody, would be playing an offertory now, but I had the bright idea last night that maybe this would be a nice day to hear John and James sing another thing, and then I forgot it. So this morning, this is not John and James, I'm John, yes, but with an H. So this morning, I sent an email asking them, and they got here, and I said, "Did you see my email?" And they said, "What email?" Anyhow, we're going to sing our anthem, which is normally reserved for the choir slot for the later time. We're going to sing it now, and then John and James are going to do us a duet, an Acapulco duet. This is also a time when I want to say what a great privilege it is for us, for me particularly, but for all of you listeners as well, to have John and James with us during the summer. Stand up, guys. Stand up, stand up, stand up, two guys. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Yeah. Wave to the people. They'll be here after the service if you want to come give them a hug. People come and people go. Y'all are going to have to wait a while longer, you two offering takers. I welcome this morning, beginning to play for our services, Ethan Abraham, who is sitting at the piano now. Ethan is a junior student at Brevard College, majoring in piano performance. He comes from a country way down in Southeast Africa. It's called Swaziland, or Swatini, I think is the new official name. Surrounded on 3 sides by South Africa and on the 4th side by Mozambique. He is playing the offertory this morning. He will gradually work into playing more and more for the services, and I will slip out the back door at that time. But we welcome Ethan at our time as he comes to join us for his part of the playing for the service this morning. We're going to sing an anthem now, which is Peace Like a River. Peace like a river, joy like a fountain, love like an ocean, flowing in my soul.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you, Susan. What is given in love, we receive with great joy. Thank you. I invite you to center yourselves. Come into this particular moment, out of the music, into the silence, into this time of prayer and meditation. Spirit of love and life, we are here in the glow of these lights, celebrating the joys around us, the wonder of love and connection and relationship. In particular, this day we celebrate with Linda and Richard their recent 3rd anniversary. We celebrate birthdays of many unmentioned ages. In particular, this week, Carla Marr. And also, we bring with us the care and concern and prayers for those who are struggling, waiting for medical results, dealing with the confusion and sorrow from knowing what's going on with their bodies. As friends, our hearts go out to those who seem to be having a rough time. In particular, this morning we lift up Carla Marr, who was briefly back in the hospital. We lift up Christy Renjilian's friend Jackie, who's had a medical scare. And our hearts are open to all the things that we hold there at this moment and all our thoughts of our minds and our meditations. May we hold these in this precious moment, spirit of love and life, in the silence. In the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say, Amen. Blessed be.
How are we supposed to pick our note?
It's actually an E-flat chord we're looking for. Not G major, E-flat major. Yeah. Well, a week from today, we'll be on the road heading back to Florida. We're working on that.
Yeah.
But we just want to say thank you so much for making us part-timers feel like a part of the family.
Yes, we feel so totally at home here, and it's been another amazing summer, and we love every one of you, and we'll be back before you know it.
Yeah. What was that again, Jeff? Every time. Got it. Thank you. Every time I feel this way, this old familiar sinking, I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted by and by. I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. It's been said, and I do believe, as you ask, so shall you receive. So take from me these troubles, bring me sweet release, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted by and by. I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. There is a river in this heart of hearts, with a knowingness of my highest good. I am willing, I will do my part, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted by and by. I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted by and by. I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Where the river will never run dry. This river will never run dry.
Thank you, John and James. Sorry you're heading off in a week to Florida, but they like you down there too. So. Yeah. I'm going to be reading portions of Proverbs 18. This is the ESV. I think that's English Standard Version. The King James Version starts out, "Through desire a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermediateth with all wisdom." And maybe that was completely understandable hundreds of years ago, but I am not thinking it tracks well. Okay, so here we go. Proverbs 18 ESV. "Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. When wickedness comes, contempt comes also, and with dishonor comes disgrace. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. It is not good to be partial to the wicked or to deprive the righteous of justice. A fool's lips walk into a fight, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. The words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body. Whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man runs into it and is safe. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and like a high wall in his imagination. Before destruction, a man's heart is haughty, but humility comes before honor. If one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and shame. The one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examines him. Lot puts an end to quarrels and decides between powerful contenders. A brother offended is more unyielding than a strong city, and quarreling is like the bars of a castle. From the fruit of man's mouth, his stomach is satisfied. He is satisfied by the yield of his lips. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Today's sermon has nothing to do with our monthly theme. And that's because I'm getting kind of worried, fed up with the ways in which incendiary language is being tossed around in our society. I'm getting tired of folks who are willing to speak out loud before they've heard. Fools who don't really care to have a wise thought, but just want their opinions heard. I'm getting kind of annoyed that we have descended into a run-up to an election in which anything might be said, anything might be believed, and a whole lot of insults are being flung around. And no matter whether the person says sorry or not, there are a lot of nails that have been pounded into people and left an indentation mark. And so I decided that I needed to preach on a subject called Watch Your Tongue. And I'll base some of this in some of the Jewish and Christian biblical readings that are out there, not all of them. There are an amazing amount of scriptural writings about not speaking like a fool. Our chalice lighting this morning was from a statement, a vision for Unitarian Universalism in a multicultural world by the Unitarian Universalist Association's Leadership Council, and dates back to fall of 2008. Fall of 2008, I think, was another time when there was a lot of mean stuff being said. I loved being able to have it heard and read together this morning. With humility and courage born of our history, we're called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community, where all souls are welcome as blessings, and the human family lives whole and reconciled. With this vision in our hearts and minds, this is how we light our chalice. And so we started it this way. And then we went into Gretchen Haley's fun opening words about God running late to the service. And it was something that she had written for process theology. And I've mentioned process theology once or twice before. Process theology is the radical idea that creation is not ended. That in fact the Creator is not ended and is being created by the creation. That everything unique and new that we might do, invent, say, bring into being, in some way shapes the divine. Process theology is pretty radical in that way, because there are a whole lot of hymns and statements saying the divine is unchanging. And yet, this theology says everything changes as we create. That we were made in the image of a creator, and therefore the art we do, the poetry, the songs, the prose, the laws, the love that we bring into this world anew, all of that makes the divine. Galatians 5:22 and 23 said, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And against such things there is no law." You know, there's a whole lot of people trying to make laws that are against that fruit of the Spirit. They're not too much into seeing love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, or goodness, because it doesn't look like the way their grumpy selves want it to be. So they're certainly not into gentleness and self-control. There are a couple quotes from James. I'll read one of them. James 3, verses 5 through 6 said, "The tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a very small spark. The tongue is also a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body and sets the whole course of one's life on fire and is itself set on fire by hell." Now, when you hear somebody say, "Hold your tongue," they're trying to keep you from the fires of hell. Gonna get you in trouble. Gonna get you in trouble. All right. That's from James. 1 Peter 3, 10 through 12 says, "For whoever would love life and see good days must keep their tongue from evil and their lips from deceitful speech." I'm glad the lips finally get a chance in this. "They must turn from evil and do good. They must seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil." How about Ephesians? See, you got to have all these biblical readings in here. Ephesians 4:29 says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for the building of others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." What is it, the formula out there? The think, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If you use the letters of think before you speak, is it true? Necessary? H, helpful. I, is it intelligent? Okay, N, necessary, and K, is it kind? Think method. Yeah. How about Proverbs? Again, this is a different book of Proverbs. "Sin is not ended by multiplying words. The prudent hold their tongues." I learned as a youth minister back in the days that there are different ways in which teens may react so that you don't really know what's going on with them. All right, teenagers, you know, how was your day? But there's another one I learned, and this was especially true with adolescent males, and probably some adults who never grew out of adolescence. It's called camouflage voice. And this Proverbs 10:19, "Sin is not ended by multiplying words, but by the prudent hold their tongues." Camouflage voice among the teens, as I was taught as a youth leader, is when somebody just keeps talking so that you never find out what's going on with them. They will completely, like, what? You're there trying to listen and understand what's going on, and you don't get it. The Psalms from the Jewish scriptures say, and I'll read the King James Version for this one. Keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. All of these are talking about the power of the tongue and the good things you can do to build up people, or the bad things you can do that can set off a spark in a forest fire and make everything awful. With the wisdom for all ages and pounding the nails, with the readings that we've had, pretty much get it that we have to watch our tongue. I would like to say our tongues, our speech, our song, our poetry are magical. Everybody hear the word abracadabra? Magic. Abracadabra, and then something happens. Or maybe we're up to some hocus pocus magic. How many of you have heard me preach about or heard anybody preach about the root words that make up abracadabra and hocus pocus? It's from the idea that our words actually have power. So I always learned the part about hocus pocus. The hocus pocus is from a corruption of the Latin Mass in Catholicism. Somebody overheard hoc est corpus meum, this is my body, as hocus pocus. And the priest was always doing hocus pocus. Hocus pocus. For the priest to speak that in that moment is a signifying that a magic has just occurred. A divine magic has just occurred. Words are magical in the right context. You can be from other traditions too, when you speak to the four directions or you speak in some other way. You are bringing something magical into it. I was talking about this a little bit this week with the ministers group that I sit in on, and we go through talking through scripture and sermon ideas, and I'll credit the pastor at St. Timothy's with pointing me in the direction of abracadabra, which I hadn't been taught, but he had been taught in theological school. That it is from the power of words from Hebrew. It's a kind of corruption of bara, I think is right. Create something out of nothing in Hebrew, and divar, word, a thing, a word. You create with your words. The Hebrew noun devar with the human letter bet, pronounced like a V, is the word for word or speech, preceding the construction of the Tower of Babel. And Genesis uses it to describe the unified words of the earth's population as seen in Genesis 11. Now the whole earth and its language and all of that. But the idea was these words, and the abracadabra, a messing up of the Hebrew syllables and words, is based back to the very beginning of Genesis, and God saying this, and it was so. The words actually create something. You name it, it is. I say these things again because deep in our culture, and sometimes hidden in the words that we use colloquially, abracadabra and hocus pocus or whatever else, We have built in over centuries of cultures the idea that our words matter. Our words bring into being something. And if we're not watching our tongues, what we bring into being isn't good. Whether you're in a 12-step program and you know that one of the steps you need to take is go and make apologies, whether you are remember being taken by your hand by your mom or your grandma or somebody else to go over, as I remember having done to me, oh, we're going over to the neighbors, and we're going to knock on the door, and you're going to say sorry, and you're going to shake hands. The idea that what we say matters. And if we had said something wrong, we need to correct that. We need to be good and correct that. For me, it matters what I say on a Sunday morning. For me, when I'm out and about and somebody learns that I'm a minister and they say, oh, I got to watch my tongue around you. Like, yeah, I am so lucky. I always thought it was icky when people would swear, and I couldn't understand why, in order to make a movie popular, they had to dump as many swear words in as possible, because if it was G-rated, nobody would would go to a G-rated movie, but if they have enough swearing, it got into like PG, and that was okay to go to PG. I don't know. Our society, it helps me being a minister, seeing as a minister, because people like tone down their language. I'd much rather live in that world. And so I don't get it. I don't get it. Why? Why? People are making money off of mudslinging. I don't get it. Why? Comics get the best publicity when they've insulted a whole group of marginalized people. I don't get it. Why politicians would believe that they'll get the most votes by being the most obnoxious. I don't get it. I live in this bubble. I live in this bubble in which I thought we were supposed to be following these ancient religious precepts about using our words and our tongues and our lips carefully. Maybe you got it. Maybe you've heard this enough times already. But depending on who you're hanging out with, if they're not a whole bunch of ministers, you're probably being sucked into language and ways of being in your speech that maybe aren't so good for you. Maybe they cause some ickiness inside of you. Maybe you don't even notice it anymore. I ask you, please be careful. For the things that we say might become real. May we say our greatest hopes for a beloved community out loud every chance we get. May we hold our tongues so we are not, as it says in the Bible, the fools who don't care to listen but just share their opinion. May we live and walk a life that makes a difference, at least for the next 6 weeks. Blessings on all of you. Thank you for listening. Our closing hymn is number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, and I kind of thought it fits, so I put it at the end here. It's not really an ending hymn, but it so fits. So please rise as you're willing and able and sing together.
Speak
Come, Spirit, come. Our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed. May you be free to go out into this world and speak the beloved community magically abracadabra into life and come back again in love. Blessings on all of you.